Maine Republican Governor Paul LePage on that. And Governor, very good to have you. First off, on what's going on with this back and forth among Republicans, if the Wall Street Journal is to be believed, they could be on the verge of botching it again. They could be on the verge of either having to shelve a vote or not, or go down to defeat. What then? If that were to happen, Governor, what then?
Well, I think, you know, there's some talk about out there that Maine has a high-risk pool and we've adopted it. There's something in this bill that concerns me a little bit that I think the Republicans should take a very hard look at, and that is have the high-risk pool. It's very important. It worked in Maine. We lowered premiums by 69% in the individual market. But one thing that I don't think is important to the bill and important that Republicans stay on is this whole idea that pre-existing conditions should be used to set rates. I think that needs to go away. That goes away, this bill becomes a very good bill. Then it would mirror Maine, and I think America could move forward.
All right, so what is the difference, if you can educate me, Governor, between a high-risk pool and one filled with those with pre-existing conditions, presumably a high-risk bunch?
Well, a high-risk pool simply means that people go out, they register for insurance, and then we know whether or not they have a pre-existing condition, and they go in the back room and they get their insurance and go on. The insurance company...
Do they pay more for that, Governor?
No, that's the point.
Okay.
The point is they just registered into the high-risk pool, and then everything is done in the back office. They get their insurance, they move on, the same insurance that all of us get, and then the insurance company and the government say, we have a high-risk pool, government, you're going to pay a little extra here. Nobody knows who's in their high-risk pool, including the people that said that they have a pre-existing condition.
But the insurance company or companies are making it clear whoever is in that, and you don't know who those individuals are, their increased costs are being borne by those participating, not the individuals and their premiums, right?
That is exactly right. People with pre-existing condition. A pre-existing condition should not be a factor in establishing rates, and that we realize that in Maine, and our program worked very well, and I think that's what the federal government should adopt.
All right. Well, we don't know now, but whether they can sort through this pre-existing stuff, because I talked to one congressman, my colleague at Pennsylvania, who wasn't entirely sure whether pre-existing conditions would be covered by all the states, so that got some alarms and hackles up. But let me ask you about that. If for some reason, whether it's the pre-existing thing, Governor, or the high-risk pool, or trying to, you know, imitate what you're doing, and they fail, Republicans really can't have another botched attempt at this, can they?
Well, you know, no. I think the first time around they should have done a little bit more homework. I think this time we're so close. I really believe, Neil, that we are very, very close to having a deal. I think we have to look at pre-existing conditions, and people with a pre-existing condition cannot be penalized. And if you go to the high-risk pool and let that work out like it did in Maine, I think everybody's going to be surprisingly satisfied with what's happening. Premiums will go down, more people get insured, and the system works. And the big issue right now is we cannot wait much longer because the insurers are leaving our states.
No, that's happening. Yeah, that's happening across the country. Real quickly, though, if it does fail, and I don't want to jinx it, because there's a possibility they can turn this around, and maybe in the public light, people who say would vote against it wouldn't vote against it. But if it fails, do they just junk this, move on to tax cuts, try to get that done, salvage something there?
Not in my mind. I think this is critical. I don't see how you can have tax cuts without having a healthcare system that works in this nation. We have to have healthcare that's going to work. When I became the governor of Maine, we had the precursor to Obamacare. It was failing. We were in red ink. We couldn't pay our bills to the hospital. We changed it. We passed a bill called PL 90 that did have the high-risk pools, allowed us to go across state lines to buy insurance, and it worked. And so I think we're so close now. I would urge every member of Congress to really look at what we did in Maine, because it did work, it can work, it will work.
All right, Governor, thank you. Good seeing you.
It's a pleasure to be back.